Mr. Donohoe, I'm sure you watched Christine Lagarde last week when she said the risks for the European economy are now very much tilted to the downside. We have no visibility in terms of the pandemic. And, you know, the obvious question at this point is Europe headed into a double-dip recession?
Well, the economic challenges that we are facing due to COVID-19 are very great at the moment. But it is in anticipation of a difficulty like this that finance ministers within the Eurozone have put in place budgetary policies to support economic supports for all of 2020 within member states. And it's also the reason why we have work underway on the rollout of the Recovery and Resilience Fund, which is a central EU initiative of over €700 billion to support countries in dealing with the economic effect of this disease and trying to minimise the effect of it on jobs and on income.
Right, but does it take us or save us from a double-dip recession? I guess that's really the question in Europe at this point. Do you see one taking hold or not?
Well, it's difficult to say at this point because it does depend on the effect of the new public health measures that are being taken across Europe at the moment. The risk is clearly there. It's been recognised in different forecasts that have issued to date. But it is in recognition of that risk that the policies that I mentioned a moment ago were decided upon earlier on in 2020 and are now being implemented. The discretionary budgetary choices that are being taken by finance ministers within the EU are now equivalent to 4% of European national income, and they're being taken because we recognise that that risk is there. So I think the economic indicators in the weeks to come will make clear whether that risk is materialising, but our effort at the moment is trying to mitigate that risk and protect citizens.
Okay, and you say you're trying to mitigate the situation by putting new policy to work. There has been a lot of money put on the table, but the reality is that it's not been implemented. There's been a lot of back and forth over the recovery fund. There's a lot of back and forth over the European budget. When do we get this deal approved?
Well, the European budget was always aimed to be rolled out for next year. So in all of the discussion that has taken place in the European Union across 2020, we were always really clear that this was a fund that would have an impact in 2021. And this is the reason why member states of the European Union, in coordination with the European Central Bank, have run very accommodative budgetary policies for 2020. So I'm very confident that you will see agreement in relation to the rollout of the initiative on the timings that we had already agreed to, which was for next year. And Olaf Scholz, who is the German finance minister, as you well know, and holds the economic dimension of the presidency of the European Union, is working very hard with his team at the moment to get that agreement, and I'm confident that they will be successful.
Okay, so you do see the recovery fund being operational at €750 billion by the start of 2021 without any delays?
I think the most likely timing of it will actually be the second half of 2021, which again is always what we expected. This is the reason why national budgetary plans continue to get the balance right between doing the right thing by national finances, but clearly what is the preeminent challenge at the moment is how we maintain income support plans, how we maintain investment plans while we're dealing with the economic effects of the disease. So I think the phasing that you'll see happen across 2021 is you'll see national plans being at the fore for the first half of next year, and then you will see the impact of the European Union budget and the Recovery and Resilience Fund in the second half of next year.
Okay, just a very brief one. There's also another question here, which is Brexit. You know very well there's been a lot of rumors, speculation over the past few days that a deal will be ready by mid-November. Your country is very key in these talks, the Republic of Ireland. Do we get a deal by mid-November? Is that correct?
Well, the negotiation is underway. I've always believed that an agreement is possible in November. And I think we are now seeing the European Union and the United Kingdom do all that can be done to get such an agreement. And clearly, if that agreement was to be reached, even though it will be nowhere near as good as the United Kingdom still being in the European Union from a trade point of view. Nonetheless, reaching that agreement will be so important in the context of all of the other sources of uncertainty that we're now dealing with at the moment.
Okay.
And I think this is something that both negotiation teams recognise in their efforts that are now underway.